This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
He fought his way through addiction, and now he's bringing his story of hope to Hope and Coffee in Tamaqua. That story is next. Welcome everyone to another day of local information. I'm happy you can be with us. I'm Ken Kara, and let's get to it. In today's news feature, Lisa Sugar talks with a musician who grew up near our area who's coming back our way to share his talent and his story.
I finally surrendered and confessed my addiction brought me to my knees. Truly admitted my life was a mess.
You've been listening to part of a song entitled The Help I Need, performed by John Dillon. John Dillon is a singer, songwriter, radio producer, author, and so much more. He joins me now to tell us about a performance that he will be making in our area at Hope and Coffee on Saturday, February 12th in Tamaqua. John, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're in upstate New York, but you're originally from Bloomsburg.
That's right, and not far from home. I'll be coming to Tamaqua. That's really great. Grew up in Bloomsburg. Spent a lot of time traveling across the country. Lived in New Mexico for a number of years. Moved to upstate New York, I guess about 3 years ago, and I guess you could say I'm the rambling sort. Me and my wife, Vivian.
The title of the program you are performing on Saturday is Hope Road from Addiction to Recovery. So you've lived it, and you're telling your story at Hope and Coffee, which is a business that benefits people in recovery. So tell us briefly your story from addiction to recovery.
Well, it's a long story, but I'll give you the short version. I grew up in the 60s. The hippie culture was what I grew up in. Drugs and of all sorts and alcohol were part of the culture, and I certainly reveled in that culture. Moved to New Mexico and joined a spiritual community where drugs and alcohol were prohibited, and I was in that for about 8 years. And then left that community due to a breakup with my wife. The drugs and alcohol came back, and long story short, in the 80s, I became severely addicted to cocaine and got to a place where I had no choice but to ask for help. And the help that came to me was in the form of a 28-day treatment program at Marworth up in northeastern Pennsylvania, and I'm so grateful for that. That was 1992, and I've maintained my sobriety over the years through participation in 12-step programs. And I'm really happy to be able to share my story and just hope that it'll benefit someone.
I'm sure it's good when someone who is going through recovery hears a story like yours, a successful story. How does that make you feel as well as them? Because you're giving them hope that it can be done, and you're giving them proof that it can be done.
There's a saying in these programs that in order to keep it, you need to give it away. And so the truth is that when I help someone else who's struggling with addiction, or whatever, it helps me as much as it helps the other person.
So now on Saturday, February 12th, you're performing at Hope and Coffee in Tamaqua. So what exactly will those who show up see and hear?
I will mention first that the show is at 5 o'clock, which is kind of an unusual time for a music performance. Usually it would be later in the evening. So if you come, please come at 5. And I'll be performing a series of 13 songs with stories in between.
And again, it's happening on Saturday, February 12th, 5 p.m., Hope and Coffee in Tamaqua. John, before we leave, do you want to play a few bars out for us?
This is a song called White Flag, which represented the low point in my addiction, but it also represented the point where I surrendered and asked for help. I like to say that that there was a divine intervention in the form of a police incident. Arrested in the dark of night, plainclothes police said walk the line, searched my car, and they did find a bag of Coke and a bottle of wine. I give up, my white flag flies. I give up, no more lies. Help me please, I've gone so low, and I have nowhere left to go.
Today's news feature is brought to you by Feisner's Ford in Freeland, who is celebrating 75 years in business. Give them a call at 570-636-3920, or you can log on to feisnersford.com.
Time now for weather on SSPTV News.
Here's our forecast from the National Weather Service. On Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 40 degrees, wind gusts as high as 24 miles per hour. Thursday night, partly cloudy with a low around 24 degrees, wind gusts as high as 22 miles per hour. Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 43, wind gusts as high as 23 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 37 degrees. Saturday is partly sunny with a high near 41 degrees. Saturday night, a 30% chance of snow showers after 1 a.m., mostly cloudy with a low around 19 degrees. Sunday, a 30% chance of snow showers, partly sunny with a high near 25 degrees, and Sunday night partly cloudy with a low around 11 degrees. Two local teams kept their divisional championship hopes high on Tuesday night in boys basketball. The Hazelton area Cougars held off Berwick. Hazelton is now 10-2 and right behind Dallas, who's 11-2 in Division I of the Wyoming Valley Conference. Josian Guerrera and Khaled Morrison led the Big HA with 14 points. Shenandoah Valley moved to 10-1 in Division III of the Schuylkill League with a win over Monoy area, and they are right behind Nativity, who is 11-1. The Blue Devils split the season series with Nativity. Owen Kozar led Shenandoah with 27 points against Monoy area. Also in Division III of the Schuylkill League, Marion beat Weatherly. Brendan Lonergan had a big night with 38 points for Marion, and Julius Curry had 20. Zane Zilkowski and Jack Keeter scored 10 for North Schuylkill in their tight win. The Marion girls are trying to lock up the Schuylkill League Division III title. Marion beat Minersville recently with Carly Minchoff and Frankie Martinelli putting up 18 points for the Phillies. Tamaqua won a close non-league game with McKenna Meckes leading the way with 17 points. In college basketball, Penn State Brandywine swept by Penn State Hazelton, and that's the SSPTV Standard Speaker Scoreboard. SSPTV News will be right back.
SSPTV News would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Joseph Caravella, age 72, of Hazelton. Services will be held at the convenience of the family under the McNulty Funeral Home. Dorothy Marie Falabelle of Hazelton. Mass will be held on Saturday at 10 a.m. at Holy Rosary Church. Friends will be on Saturday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. at the church. The Frank J. Bonham Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. James J. Gallagher, age 89, formerly of Hazelton. Services were previously held in Georgia. Daniel J. Metzger, age 94, of Quakake. Memorial service will be held on February 19th at 11 a.m. at the Lamar Chris Funeral Home. Friends will be on February 19th from 9:30 to 11 a.m. at the funeral home. And Carol Ann Paul Mallinter, age 86, of Manheim. Services will be held at a later date.
Tonight's obituaries are being brought to you in part by Harmon Funeral Homes and Crematory, with 2 locations in Rockland and in Drums, 570-384-3312 or 570-788-0977, and go to harmonfuneral.com.